Alright, so we can switch on the level over here, and based on what level it is, we can go ahead and do different things. Of course, 0 is never going to come. So we have up until level 13 over here. So we can have, so up until 12, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So based on this, we can use the points table to actually determine how much to actually provide, and then we can just destroy self. So if we are in level 1, it's going to be 100 points. So we can grab the game mode ref and we can say set points to be equal to points plus whatever that is. So it's going to be get points. So it's going to be get points plus, so this is going to be, I believe, 200. So 100. So this is 100. Instead of doing a switch, we could have done a select. That would have probably been better. So we can do select, or rather select over here. So this is actually a better way to do it. So go ahead and run that. So level 0 is not possible. Alright. Level 1, anyways, we'll just keep that at the default. So we can go ahead and select all the options. So this was 300, I believe. This was 500, 700, 1000. So we have 500. We have 700. And we have 1000. And we also have 2000, 3000 as well as 5000. So 2000, 3000 as well as 5000. So we have 3000 as well as 5000. So we can drag that into points and we can add that. So this will be a very simple operation. Now once we actually add that, we can go ahead and set the points. So we can add options up until 12. Alright, so this will be for level 2, then for 3 to 4, then for 5 to 6, 5 to 6, so 7 to 8 and 9 to 10, so 7 to 8 and 9 to 10. Alright, so 11 to 12 and 13 plus, so 11 to 12, and default is going to be that. So of course this is going to exceed, so this is of course going to exceed whatever we have over here. So I wish there was a default pin, so there is no default pin. So we have option 13 over here. No one's going to go to this level. So a quick fix over here is we can do this, or what we can do is we can just do a branch over here. So if the level is greater than or equal to 13, we can directly go ahead and set this up. So we can directly go ahead and do points is equal to points plus this value. So it will be points plus this value. So the game mode reference will remain the same. So it will be this points plus this value, and the game mode reference will remain the same. And what we can do is we can also call the update. So we can get a reference to the HUD. So get the HUD, and we'll go ahead and update the score. So it'll be this one over here, and it'll be this one over there. Alright, so this should be it for the fruit. The only thing is we have to spawn the fruit. So when we pick up 70 pellets, that is, so in our game mode, so we can use our calculator to kind of find out where this is. So 240 minus 70, this will be 170. So wherever this is, so we have our logic over here. So on pellet picked event, once we pick it, if it is not less than or equal to 0, we'll check if the pellets remaining is equal to 170. If yes, we are going to spawn the fruit. Okay, so we'll spawn the fruit basically. So create a custom event. Alright, so we also need the fruit spawn point. So we can go ahead and get all actors with tag, and we can say fruit spawn. We can get the first element, and we can go ahead and promote this to a variable. So we can promote this to a variable, and we can call this fruit spawn. So once we actually set this, we'll have access to it. We can get the actor transform. So get actor transform, and this will be the transform for our spawning. So spawn actor from class, and this will be the fruit. Alright, and this should be it. We don't really require to store a reference to it since it doesn't really matter. Alright, this should be done, and always spawn, ignore collisions. We want to make sure that it always spawns. And at the fruit spawn, we are going to spawn the fruit. So over here, if it's equal to 170, we can go ahead and spawn the fruit. Or if it is equal to whatever that number is, so that is 170. So when 70 are remaining, so we can go ahead and spawn the fruit. So we can just do an OR condition over here. So we can do a boolean OR. So if any of these conditions are true, we can go ahead and spawn the fruit. Alright, if any of these conditions are false, do nothing. So this should technically spawn the fruits. We can go ahead and remove the patch up logic which we had for our exclude indices range. So remove this. So we'll go ahead and delete this. Alright, if I go ahead and press play. So now hopefully I can actually get this to work. So I don't know how many pellets I've actually picked up. So this is actually quite difficult to win. Okay, so we did spawn a fruit. Alright, a minor bug, I guess. So once we actually pick it up, we have to destroy ourselves. So destroy actor. So we have to destroy, otherwise this is not going to work. Alright, let's go ahead and press play. Okay, so I hope we can pick up 70 pellets over here. So if we can pick up 70 pellets, so this is going to do it just fine. So somehow pick up the power pellet over there. Alright, so now we increase the points as well. Okay, now the only thing that is left is printing the lives, which we haven't necessarily done. So we can add in another text over here and put it at the top left. Make the font this arcade classic, and we can say points is, or rather lives is 3, and we can make this one 75, or maybe let's say 50. 50 is about reasonable. Let's say this is 128, or rather 64, and this can be 64 as well. Now if we make this is variable, we can also go ahead and get the lives. So we can set the text. So we can set the text for this text box. We can format it once again. So this will be lives. So this will be lives as a parameter. And what we can do is we can pass this in from our game mode. So I guess we have lives over here. So not sure if we have it in our game mode itself. So we can go ahead and check that. So probably have it inside Pacman. Yeah, we have it in Pacman. So we can take it from there. So in our HUD, where we have lives, we can go ahead and get Pacman ref. And in here we can go ahead and get the lives. Alright. So this should be it. And just make sure whenever we are setting the lives, so that will be in the ghost events, whatever the overlap events are. So not the ghost exactly, under the Pacman game mode. So wherever we have eaten by ghost basically. So at that point of time, we'll need to update the lives. So over here, so we should have on eaten by ghost or something. So wherever we have that end round function. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we're calling it somewhere over here. So we have on end round event. So over here we want to update the lives. So a very simple thing that we can do is we can go ahead and update our HUD. So we can get our HUD reference. So we can get our HUD reference and we can go ahead and update score in HUD. New score is going to be points. Actually, we don't even need to pass this. Since we have it set up like this, we don't have to actually pass this. Alright, and once we actually spawn our Pacman or whatever, so whenever we actually set the lives to 3, so we are already updating, so that should also take care of itself. So lives are 3 now. So now if I go ahead and die on purpose, we have lives as 2, lives as 1, and this should be game over. Alright, so we are done with the game, I guess. So if we want, we can go ahead and save the high score. That's very simple to do. So under blueprints, we can go ahead and create a new folder called enums. It's getting a little too cluttered over here. And we can drag this over here. And we can create another folder. This one, we can call it structs. And this we can move it over here. And we can create a new blueprint class of type save game. So this can be a save game or local player save game is also fine. Local player save game would be preferable in this case. Okay, we can call it BP save game and we can say high score. So high score is the variable. This will be an integer, of course. Alright. And once it's game over, this is when we want to save it. So in our game mode, we'll just have a save function real quick. And this should be the last thing that we have to do in order to finish it. So create a custom event and call it save. So just a small typo over there. So once we call save, what we got to do is we have to basically get our, so we need to get the save game. So create save game object. So load or create save game from local player. So basically it's going to create a new instance if it doesn't exist. So it's going to create a save game object if it doesn't exist. Okay. So you can call it high score or something. Alright. So BP underscore save game. And we can go ahead and promote this to a variable. Promote this to a variable. And we can say save game ref. And what we can do is we can get high score. Whatever this is. So get. So we need to cast it. So we can cast it to BP save game. Alright. And even the reference type, we'll need to make it BP save game. Alright, here we can get the high score. And if the high score is less than our current high score, so that's going to be points. If it's less than points, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and set it and save. So then what we can do is we can set high score to be equal to the points. If not, we can just go ahead and leave it as is. So we can get the save game reference and save game to slot. Alright. So I believe it even accounts for the slot name. So I don't think this should be a problem. Or here, okay, so it does store the slot name basically. You can also use save game to slot. All right, and over here as well we can go ahead and save it. Okay, so the save game ref will be the reference that we want to save it to, and now we have to basically call save when it's game over. So call on game over, and what we can do is over here we can also call save. Okay, then now what we can do is in our main menu, so in our main menu over here, we can go ahead and add another text, and this is something which we can just load. So if we set the anchor to be somewhere in the middle, so make it 0.5 and 0.5, and let's say the position wise about 200 or 256, whoops, 256, or maybe 200 was fine actually, and X was 0, and this is going to be the arcade font. This is going to be 70, let's say 75 is about fine. Center align the text, and let's say the size is about 500. Okay, that's a little too much. So that's a little too much. So alignment Y we can set it to 0. So I guess 500 by 100. And now this we can set it to high score. High score, let's say this is 0 by default. Okay. Alright. So we can set this. When we construct this widget itself, over here we can load the game. So we can load it before everything else. So we can forget about everything and we can load game from slot. So load game. Alright, and the slot name is going to be high score. So it's going to be BP save game. And we can go ahead and promote this to variable, or rather we can get high score. So cast to BP save game, and then we can get the high score. So once we get the high score, what we can do is we can go ahead and set the text using the newly obtained value. So our text block reference is over here, and we can call the set text function to set the text. So this will go ahead and set it up, and once we are done with this, this should be good. We can convert this to a text, and we can disable the grouping because again we know the font is causing a bit of an issue. Of course you can select a different font if you really wish, but in our case we'll just avoid this the grouping altogether. So you can call the format text function, and we can say high score, and we can say score or whatever. Alright, so now this should give us the output. So high score. Okay, I believe it's not actually taking the spaces, or the spacing is way too small for me to be able to see. So yeah, the spacing is a little too small, so we'll use 2 spaces, no issues with that. So high score, so we have used 2 spaces. Alright, now if I go ahead and press play, technically it should work. Alright, so let's go ahead and just dive for a second. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's game over. And now the high score still says it is 0. So let's see what's up with that. So I'm not sure if the game is actually existing. So if we actually take a look at our saved folder, we should actually see it. So if we open our file location, saved, save games, actually we do have highscore.sav. So technically it did store it. So high score still says it is 0. Let's go ahead and check why. So high score still says it is 0. So let's go ahead and print it. So it says cast failed actually. So let's see if that prints out. Okay, so it does say cast failed. So let's see what's up with that. Okay, we didn't get the player controller. That's a very stupid mistake from our part. Alright, now if I go ahead and press play, we have the high score as well. So along with the music, we can actually see our high score. Alright. So that should be it.